Hi, welcome. So, I'm gonna whisper. I just finished a reading where I kind of gave a little prelude to what I was feeling about doing a reading today for 2026. And it may not be for the whole year, but it's like something this morning was like, ooh, whispers of 2026 are coming in. And if we listen really quietly, like what's coming in on the winds, like when you feel the breeze and it's like, oh, what's it telling me? So I had that kind of energetic feeling this morning of like, ooh, it feels like if we tap in, we might be able to feel like what's coming in 2026. And that's such a weird thing to say, isn't it? Because I also believe whatever is just right here, right now is the only thing ever happening. And then I think about the chaos of the holiday time of year where it's like we can't even think about tomorrow, let's just get through today. Yet we know, like, I feel like there's something about next year, something that each of us will be going through of some sort of personal transformation in some way. Obviously we're always doing that too, right? So it's always happening. And yet, what if we get a little whisper of what that might be? You know how when you kind of like things will resonate, or you might get that deja vu feeling, or just the nature of repetition, the way it can really help solidify something versus like we hear it once and then it's gone. So if we get a little idea through all of this, what we might be on the listen for that's coming around the bend as we round out this year and go into next year, what might we be on the lookout for that has something to do with our own personal transformation, our own know thyselfing that we just love so much to get to know ourselves even deeper. So with that, because it felt like a very yin kind of energy, which is a very divine feminine kind of energy, I pulled out my my feminine kind of cards. Seasons of the Witch, Earth Mothers, and the Wild and Sacred Feminine. And I have I forget what these are called, but they're very kind of delicate. Not that feminine means delicate. I'm just getting all the flavors of like quiet and soft and receptive and open kind of energy. Some people call that yin. Some people call it the divine feminine. You call it what you want. I call it winter. And then also my this is called Spirit Song. So I have these two tarot decks that are very just and then our feminine decks. So let's get started. What I want to do is pull a card from each of these decks first, and we'll decide if and when we want to read the message. Hot cross buns. This is not a warning, but a caution for what lingers. Hot cross buns? What? I think we will have to read that right away. I am intrigued. Okay. Oops. I just almost kicked over my subwoofer. Earth Mother's Oracle. Unity. All right. I love that. And the Wild and Sacred Feminine. Gentleness. Where did this go? I think it went in here. So what I want to do is start with this hot cross buns. We got to get this whole, this is not a warning, but a caution for what lingers. What is lingering? I wonder if it's like what's lingering here at the end of 2025. How do I use this book? It's been so long. I haven't used these in ages. Okay. Keywords: good health, protection from eagles, protection from evil. Protect yourself from eagles. Seriously. Cycles of life. This is not a warning, but a caution for what lingers. Hot cross buns may now be a common Easter tradition, but have their roots in celebration of the goddess Eostre, for which Easter is named. The 4 sections created by the cross represent the 4 moon cycles and the 4 seasons, with the cross in the center representing rebirth after a long winter. Seriously, what are we rebirthing into next year? Hot cross buns are also associated with good health and protection from illness. They store especially well, so a batch would always be kept to hang in the kitchen for protection and given to those who fell ill. Many believe the cross on top of the buns had holy powers and used them as a cure-all to treat most diseases. This card appeared to urge you to make your health and spiritual protection a bigger priority. I've been feeling that, haven't you? I was talking with a friend yesterday about, she's like, oh, I have all the things. I have the foam roller. I have the this. I have the that. They're sitting in that corner over there. We all know what we should be doing, right? But it's like, how do we prioritize our health enough to actually do the things we know we should be doing? That's always the hurdle, isn't it? So, and spiritual protection. What does that even mean to me? I think it means protecting my peace, monitoring or being really aware of what I'm taking in that affects my spirit, that affects my emotions, my state of mind, my state of being in any moment. So it's like, I think awareness is a form of protection, is like the first form, like first layer maybe. Supporting yourself by clearing and cleansing and establishing a protection ritual can go a long way towards managing stress and overwhelm. This card may also symbolize a need to be more mindful about some external influences currently surrounding you. Yep, what's coming in? Where did I leave off? Something or someone is directing energy towards you that may be causing you to experience emotions or thoughts that are not actually your own, or influencing you in a negative way that you are not yet aware of. Likewise, if you have asked about a person, then receiving this card is a sign to take caution in your interactions with them moving forward. If you have asked about whether or not you should move forward with an idea or opportunity, then consider taking additional time before making a choice. If possible, waiting at least a week before coming to a decision. Protection ritual bath. Spiritual protection is important as you can carry energies and emotions that do not belong to you. The longer you hold them, the more powerful they become. Bring a pot of water to boil and add 1 cup of coconut water, 2 bay leaves, a tablespoon of sea salt, 1 tablespoon of dried basil, half a pomegranate, including the seeds. Pomegranates are a symbol of protection. Or 1 sliced red apple and 1 handful of curry or banana leaves. Boil for 5 minutes, then lower the heat and cover. Simmer for a further 2 minutes, then strain the mixture and add it to your bath. Talk about witchy. Create an atmosphere in the bathroom. Light candles and incense and dim the lights if possible. Set your intentions such as, sacred water spirit, please cleanse me of all that does not belong to me and is not serving me. Send back all ill intents to the sender. Take your time. So that's asking you to get a little, that kind of frames it in the context of like, it almost, to me, there's part of me that doesn't resonate with that message, and it's that sense of empowerment and agency that you have, that it's not someone putting energy on you. We have so much power. We choose, consciously or not, to take that onto us or take it into us. So I want to reframe that message and say, sure, make your little potions, whatever help, because those are permission slips, right? To say, I'm doing this because it's feeding something in me. It's like enlivening that energy of agency, of I have control of how I take things in, of how I transmute energies. So I want to reframe that as like, it's not like being on the scare, like pushing away somebody's energy, like, oh, I feel under attack and stop it. And so I don't like that vibe. Maybe that's not how you took it, but it's like, you have all the agency in the world, all the power in the world to just not take it in. And so when we say like somebody's making you feel a certain way, like that book said, no one makes you feel any way. You make yourself feel that way with the thoughts that are then churning around with what you are feeling in an interaction with another person, right? It's all from the inside. And that, therefore, you have all the power in the world. So to me, I want to reframe that. But I like the core message of like, take this quiet time to kind of like maybe tap into that inner power of like, I do have all of the power. I do have it all. I have the power to recognize what my mind is doing and then calm it. Calming rituals, whatever that is. So we're going to take that as a message of quiet and calming as we move through this end of the year where winter is starting to really come in. Like we had our first snowfall, and then I like how that creates this quiet, dampened landscape. Okay, so now we have Unity, Earth Mothers, number 19. Beauty. Celebrate all of you. Every little part of you makes up your unique being. Honor all those parts and unite them as you become the person you were always meant to be. So when we talked about whatever this personal transformation journey, it's like uniting all the parts. That screams integration. That screams like making things seen and then making them a useful part of your everyday life so they are not unuseful. Like they're not distracting from you coming into connection with yourself. Yudi, the unified Earth Mother, is the caretaker of unity. She encourages us to love ourselves just as we are and to embrace everybody's uniqueness and diversity. No matter how different we think we are all connected. And when we feel that unity within ourselves and with each other, we strengthen and nourish the whole world. Preach. When Yudi appears in your reading, you might feel like there are parts of yourself that do not quite fit together. You may feel disconnected from yourself, as if some parts of you contradict other parts. You may feel disconnected from yourself, as if some parts of you can contradict others. That almost sounded like a repeat, but it wasn't. This card is here to tell you that you can join seemingly opposite aspects of yourself and create a distinctively wonderful being that is all you. In this way, you are magnifying the essence of who you are and sharing it with the world. This will inspire others who feel insecure about their differences to share their unique abilities. This way, we will be unified by our differences instead of divided by them. Imagine yourself as an animal made of different parts. Which animals do you imagine as the quintessential you? Each animal part can symbolize a vital part of who you are. Have fun with this and create a character in your mind or on paper. Think of each piece of that animal as having an essential quality you embody. This creature will not look like any creature anybody else has conjured in their mind or seen in reality because it is a uniquely unified creation. Send this animal a whole lot of love because it represents the unity within yourself. Do not hide the unusual parts of you. Dare to be different and bask in diversity. Being unapologetically, uniquely you is the most powerful step towards true happiness. Here's an affirmation here. I love every part of who I am. I shine in my uniqueness and feel confident to show myself to the world. Okay, guys, that's the message of 2026. I feel it. Do you feel it? It's like bringing all parts of ourselves into the fold to be recognized, loved, accepted, and shared. Oh, can't share it unless it's part of you. I think the Course in Miracles says that exact thing. It's like we can only share what we already have. So first, we have to have all those parts of us. Dear gentleness. And that means not denying any part. Like, oh, maybe there's a part of me that says, I'm too much for people, right? I've heard people say that. Like, I feel like I'm too much for some people. And so therefore, if we have that judgment against ourselves, there's something that says, okay, hide, be quiet. Like we suppress that part of ourselves that might be vibrant and joyful and like exuberant and like the extrovert part of ourselves, right? And then it's like, if we turn that off, then it's like, oh, a part of us just died. So it's like, bring it back in. Dear gentleness. I got to push pause because I always forget how to find this. There's no number. Found it. Number 27. I think that's my favorite number. Shadow. The shadow element of this. So if the positive light element is gentleness, the shadow would be force, because they always talk in like opposite energies. So instead of gentleness, like There's like, so only kindness raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend. That's from a poet, Naomi Shihab Nye. She's a great poet. If you have encountered deer in your deck today, you are being courted by benevolence. Deer is a messenger of the wild divine. Sudden movements and loud voices cause her to flee. If you offer heartfelt song and genuine praise, however, she will turn toward you. Gaze into her liquid brown eyes to receive the blessing of her loving kindness. The Celts believe that deer led the way through the mist into the fairy realm. Inside the wild wood, soft-footed deer moves with otherworldly agility and grace. Let deer be your guide to the gentler ways of the forest. Track her along age-old trails where a quiet wind whispers through matriarchal trees, awaking a memory of your more ancient self. Didn't we Sorry, guys, I just had a moment. That whole, we started this reading with, the whispers on the wind. I might cry. There are no coincidences. I have to say that again. Track her along age-old trails where a quiet wind whispers through matriarchal trees, awaking a memory of your more ancient self. Thank you, universe. Deer teaches you to see between the shadows and attune to subtle energy. Here, deep in the dreamlike woodland, you may recover your natural sensitivity and effortless innocence. Initiated into the way of deer, return to your life as an emissary of gentleness in an all too harsh world. As the animal ally of the fourth chakra, that's the heart chakra, deer invites you to lead a heart-centered life. Even the most challenging situations and wounded beings can be soothed with tenderness. This is what humankind needs: kindness, the conduct of love. Whereas force controls by maintaining a false power over others through fear, deer mirrors the true power of love within an open heart. So, as kindness begets kindness, deer asks that you embody her gentle medicine to expand the influence of your compassion. Following his enlightenment, the Buddha offered his first sermon on the Noble Eightfold Path: be compassionate, do no harm, speak kindly, be mindful, and so on, at Sarnath, the deer park. Thus, he aligned himself with the exemplar of deer as the embodiment of wisdom and gentle strength. Once you quiet your mind, Buddha says, right speech and right action will move through you, enabling you to follow the softly assured footsteps of deer and lead with divine qualities of the heart, love, gentleness, and grace. Oh, I got to take a picture of this for 2026. Those are the whispers we felt were coming. There's this spiritual protection to me that feels like, be aware of what we're taking in, of what we allow to come in, because we have all the power. I want this to be a message of personal empowerment. And then there's unity and gentleness. To me, that feels more true than any, that's standing in your strength, that's standing in your power no matter what comes, no matter what's happening in the outside world, and then responding with love and kindness. That's once we stop having the separation within ourselves and we bring everything into the fold and we stand in a unified, powerful center, and then what comes out is only love and kindness and gentleness, how can anything be wrong with that? Wow. Okay, what I want to do is push pause and get a drink of water. Okay, because this is just an overview, the whispers, I want to just do a really brief card spread. We've already spent a lot of time reading the oracle messages to say what might be coming. We have the Five of Swords. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. The Ten of Wands. The Knight of Swords. Ooh, and the Two of Wands. And we'll pull one from the bottom of the deck. The Six of Cups. Oh my God, you guys. I cannot believe it. The overall energy. This is the card. I always think of the word tenderness. Six of Cups is a card of tenderness. Okay. I don't know about you, but we're getting confirmation that like that's where we're going in 2026, meaning that's all that's being asked of us. That's it. If anything other than that's coming out of us, it's a wake up call to say, whoa, something's still separated, divided within me. Something's separated. I got to look inside. What is asking to be brought into the fold in tenderness, self-love? Because this is a card of going back in time to a time where our child self was wounded. It didn't get something it needed. And we're going to turn around and, with tenderness, speak to that part of ourself and say, here, let me give it to you now. You are loved. You are seen. You are appreciated. You are wanted. You are powerful. You are whatever you didn't get. That's how we bring ourselves into unity. That's how we bring those parts, those wounded, protected parts of ourselves back into the fold. I love that. I'm going to have to print this out and put it on my wall for 2026. What this is, we have sword, wand. What, to me, that feels like there's air and fire, which to me is so interesting. The cycles, like these elements of air. We started this whole reading with like the whispers on the air, the swords being of the mind, the 5 of swords, like, and by the way, wands are like that spirit energy that's like something that inspires us. And I think about the way that fire, like even a little flame, can go out without the air to keep feeding it. So when we think about the, like, what is, to me, what's coming, I'm not even looking at like the specifics of the cards, but just the elements with how the air feeds the fire and then the air feeds the fire. There's this energy of like, how do we keep that flame alive within us through the year? Okay. So how do we keep maybe coming back to gentleness? How do we keep looking inward to keep coming back into unity? Right? How do we keep protecting our spirit self? How do we keep recognizing what's coming in, those external influences? Right? We can see all the external, but do they really have to influence us? So how do we keep that inner spirit alive and fortified, so that we can move through 2026, the whole year, not let that fire burn out? Okay, because this is all about being tender with those parts of ourselves that need healed. I love that, because 2025, when I think back to the reading we did for the whole year, it felt like big, monumental shifts. And maybe that's why that this year I hear a lot of people talk about how, oh, I think I said dumpster fire of a year, what a shit show of a year, whatever. It's like, is that even true? But thinking back to the reading we had for 2025, there were big shifts throughout like each quarter of the year. This feels like okay, now that we've had some big shifts in ourselves, in our own journey, the way forward is like integration and tenderness. There's a quietude to that. And that's a natural progression, isn't it? After the big stuff, there's okay, now how do we integrate that into our daily lives? So now for the specifics of the cards, we have the 5 of Swords, which is one of contemplation. So he's looking back and saying, what has my mind been doing? What chaos has it been creating? What thoughts, like looking back and seeing the cycles of how the patterns of thought that I have that keep me feeling separated. Because like I said, we have all the power, but that also means we create all the chaos within us too. We can't just keep blaming it on other people. It's never about other people, is it? So what have I been doing? What are my cycles of chaos within me? It's saying, where am I not in unity? So this first part of this year is all, and take the last part of this year if you want, thinking like, where is it where I still feel like it's me against me? Where am I me against me, right, in my life? That seems like it wanted to be said. I've never said that before. I might need to think on that. Where do I still feel like it's me against me? The 10 of Wands feels like there's that I've been carrying a heavy burden. I've been doing all the heavy lifting. Things have felt really hard. And the Ten of Wands is asking us to lay down the burdens because we're at the end of that cycle. So once you recognize where has it been me against me, now lay that down. Don't keep shaming ourselves or keep in the cycle of me against me. We don't have to be critical of ourselves for doing that. We're just trying to wake up to like, whoa, that's what's been happening. I guess I never really recognized what I've been doing to myself with my thoughts. This is like, okay, now let's put them down. We're starting a new cycle. We're going to stop being in separation. We're not going to stop carrying that heavy load. And the 10 of Wands is like, all this spiritual protection energy is now culminated because Wands being spiritual energy, the 10 being the end of that cycle or the culmination of something. How are we going to fortify our spiritual self? We're at the 10, like we're at the fullness of, like, we want to build up our spiritual self, our recognizing that we are more than just this body, right? Tap into that inner wisdom, that higher knowing. The Knight of Swords is this, there's such a fast energy about it, right? So there's this something, there's like a clarity that's coming in quickly when we go through this process. The warning here is like, don't just bypass. The Knight of Swords has this tendency to be out over the nose of his horse because he's acting without thinking. Whereas this is like, yeah, we're putting an end to thoughts. We want to get more into our body, but this is like that energy of bypassing. So something here says be aware of that, because once we get a lot of clarity, it might feel like an invigoration, like is that a word? Where it's like, oh, now I've got it. Like the light bulbs are on, and there's this tendency to like want to speed up and have an outward flowing energy. And all of this was about, wait a minute, we're still in the quietude and gentleness. So this is just be aware that that's an energy that can happen when we drop the load. We start going fast, right? We've been going slow and like trudging. I don't know the word, but like we're walking through mud because we're carrying so much on us. When we start to drop that, it might feel like we're so light, like air, all this fast air energy. And so this is just a call out to say, slow that down. Still try to not bypass all of the integration that wants to happen this coming year. Meaning recognizing things for what they are, bringing tenderness and self-love, and then we bring it into our fullness of being. Because it says you are a unique individual. We don't want to bypass any part of ourselves, right? We want to treat it with love and bring it in. Then we have the Two of Wands, which is looking out, saying like, oh, I'm being called out of my quiet space, my safe little protection bubble I've been in all year. So maybe by the end of the year, after we've integrated, only then do we start to hear the call of like, now what do I do with this? I feel like because remember this said like we're doing it to share, like to give that gift to others, like to give the unique gift of our uniqueness, our specialness to others. But we can't give it unless we've integrated it and we feel it and we've spent time with it and we've appreciated all the different aspects of our uniqueness. Then we start to say, well, wait, I feel like I've spent some time with that by the end of the year, maybe. How might I go and share that with others? Now, you don't have to wait till the end of the year. You might be thinking about that like, oh, what is so unique about me that is actually a gift to other people that I've never thought of it in those terms before? What is so unique about you? Like something that lights you up, that you're so fascinated by, that you could do forever, even if it's not a job, that you could learn about forever with no end goal in mind other than you just love to learn about it. And how are those types of things that light you up, because this is that fire, spirit, inspiration energy, that other people they would treat that as a gift if you shared that with them, right? So what is it uniquely you that eventually you hear that call to say, once you've spent time with it, appreciated it, how might you then be able to share that with others? So that's, man, I love that. If that's what's really happening this year, woo! So we've gone a while, and I've got to get going to my clients. Let's just get one little wrap-up clarification from our Spirit Song Tarot, the quiet, beautiful tarot cards, to see like what else might we be on the lookout for this year? What might we want to listen for on those winds, the whispers? We have the Page of Crystals. Okay, so this is the page of, I think the crystals are pentacles. I have to go back and look. They name them something different every time, each of these decks. Then we have the World. Yeah, and then we have the Eight of Feathers. Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm just going to read these words to see if they resonate with you, because this deck comes with different words, but look at the artwork. Look how beautiful it is. I wish you could see it clearly in all color, because it's like soft pastel, very vibrant, like pastel-y type. It's not, I don't know, not quite pastels. Oh, it's beautiful. It's like watercolors. That's the word I meant to say. So right here in the heart, we have the World, which says fulfillment and celebration. Fulfillment and celebration. The World is about something coming, like a cycle completing, a journey culminating in something. It feels like a fullness, where when we think about unity, that's the World card. Those are like one and the same energies. So unity, the World, fullness, and that it like a fulfillment and celebration. So that's right at the heart of 2026. That's where we're headed when we bring all of those parts of ourselves together. It's like when we start over, like in tarot, the World is the final card out of the major arcana. And then what they say is like, well, you just start back at the beginning with the Fool and you go through it again, but you don't really go back. You don't really start over. There's like a leveling up. So here we are at the end, where we've spent a lot of time in that quietude with ourselves, bringing all parts of our uniqueness, all those parts into our whole. Spent time with it in the quiet. Then when we start over, when we level up at the Fool, on the next go around on this journey, the Fool is not really the Fool it was the first time around. It's learned so much, and now it has an even more carefree spirit and a deeper trust in knowing that everything's fine just as it is, because I am whole, I am full. I can act from a center that is so rooted. I'm not separated within myself. So then we have the Page of Crystals. Hold on, I think those are pentacles. Yeah, they're pentacles. So Page of Pentacles is, their pages are messengers, that there's like a freshness, and it's usually of this youthful, inspired, like newness. And I think about that, this whole reading is about, in the quiet, like what is happening within us, what newness, like getting to know ourselves in a new way. This says ideas and discipline. Ideas, discipline. So what does that mean to you when we're going through this time of unity, spiritual protection, gentleness, acknowledging what we're allowing in, taking ownership and accountability for that, right? What is that about the discipline needed? It almost feels like there's a new inspired energy. Like when we go back to heal those parts that didn't get what they need at some point in our lives, it feels like a new power emerges. Like we have the power to apply discipline in our lives, because this says, how are we going to keep that fire lit? Air, fire, air, fire. How are we going to keep infusing ourselves with that energy throughout the year to keep coming back to tenderness and gentleness over and over and over, instead of like that Knight of Swords energy of like getting out ahead of the horse and like like bypassing all of this that's needed and going straight to the maybe negativity or the criticism or all that stuff of mind. Okay, so how do we apply that discipline to keep grounding with the Pentacle energy? And then on the other side of the world, how do we, because that's that cycle that's ending. With the world, think of a cycle as like the new cycle that's starting is like that cycle of discipline. And that word is even boring, right? We have like this little inner rebel over the word discipline. I feel it. It's like, don't tell me to be disciplined. So how could we start a new cycle of discipline without rebelling against it? Because it's actually a friend, isn't it? Here I'm talking to myself. It's a friend. Treat it like a friend. Then we have the Eight of Feathers, which is the Eight of Swords. This says courage and solutions. Because there's this, like that inner rebel is like that energy of the Eight of Swords where we're like bound up by it. Like we're just like, we feel like trapped. There's that weird, like, I don't know how else to say it. It's like feeling trapped by the old, like what discipline has historically meant to us. Like, oh, it's some bad thing. And now it's like, no, you have all the power to make it what you want. You can make it fun. This is like the courage to see it in a new light, the courage to do hard things because you can do hard things. So it says this is like ideas, discipline, courage, and solutions. And I said this in another reading, like some of these words or ideas aren't like the sexy spiritualism, like the sexy new age spiritualism that we get caught up in, like flowery language a lot of time with tarot readings, like, oh, your spirit guides and your higher self. And like, this is me maybe seeming like I'm making fun of that, but I'm not. But I'm like, really, let's ground it into something useful in our physical reality that we can work with. Now, if you can work with spirit guides, to me that says sometimes we might feel like if we put all the power, and we may very well have guides. I've heard so many people talk about it. I love to believe that there's a whole panel of people somewhere. People, I don't know if they're people, spirits, they're guides in spirit form that are watching us. You have yours, I have mine. And they're sitting around like guiding us in some way, maybe implanting those little nuggets of intuition into us. Like maybe that is but if we give all our power away to them and say, I don't have any agency, I just got to wait for my guides to tell me what to do. And then you might be like, well, I'm not hearing them. Or you might put too much into them and say, everything's a sign. Everything. No, I'm not saying any of that's not true. I think maybe everything is a sign, right? But I feel like there's this, something here is like saying, and I feel like it's the way the universe works. I've talked about it before. Like we, in our agency, take that first step. It's like a showing up. And then our guides, if you believe in that sort of thing, can say, oh my God, she's like invested. She's committed. She's showing courage. She's showing discipline. I'm going to put all the signs out there now that I know she's looking. So who knows how it works? I don't know how it works. To me, those feel a little bit true. Like we're put here in a body with a sense of agency and doership. And like we're in a physical world doing physical things. Like why not? Why wouldn't this be true and the spiritual aspect be true as well? Why can't there be a both and? Yeah, we might have spirit guides, but yeah, we also are put in a body to have agency. So like take ownership, responsibility, accountability. So all of that showing up here with like what 2026 requires of us is not just being on the back. So you might think of like tenderness, gentleness, doing the healing work. You might think of it as like taking a back seat and like waiting for something to happen to us. And this is like, no, you have all the power. And this is saying, how do you keep that fire lit to keep coming back to yourself all year long? And this is saying discipline, courage, finding your own solutions. But yeah, don't discount the spiritual, the part of ourselves we can't see and that we don't know. And it's like saying, be okay with not knowing. be okay with, hey, what if that's true? I'm going to act like it is because that helps me. It's useful. So I like to think of things in the terms of usefulness, and that doesn't only mean materiality, but what is useful to us on our journey through 2026. Okay, gotta go. Thank you for being here. Those are the whispers we were looking for, that we were listening for. So thank you for being here.